Good morning, everyone. This is John, and today I want to talk a little bit about uh, caring for the foliage pads on Shimpaku Juniper. This is mainly going to consist of of pruning and pinching the foliage pad. This is an old Shimpaku that I've had for a number of years, and it was displayed fall of '08 and spring of '08, so it had been pinched really hard and wired and everything that year. This past year, the '09 growing season, I pretty much just let it grow. Um, and you can see now it's getting the real pom-pom look, and things are becoming round, and it's grown well over the past year. But so anyhow, let's look at some of these techniques. There's three basic techniques I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to use use shears to prune. We're going to do fine pinching and rough pinching. Let's begin with using shears. And what I want to point out here is that when you're using shears, you are not shearing. You are actually finding the connecting uh, uh, strands of foliage and cutting those. You're not just shearing across the bottom. Even though it is on the bottom, it's better to find those individual connecting pieces when you're using the shears. I like to hold the shears almost level, nearly level, as I'm approaching in. Sometimes you have to use a little bit of an angle. And again, I don't get in a hurry. I do it one piece at a time. Um, you can see how this technique works. And basically this is to flatten out the bottoms. You know, one of the adages in bonsai is nothing really grows downwards. So we're gonna flatten out these bottoms. Now I'll use the rough pinching and the fine pinching for the tops, and sometimes I'll also I will use the shears on the top, but it's in the same technique. I find a particular piece of foliage and I cut that piece of foliage out. I do not just shear across the top. That's a great way to get brown tips all across your foliage pads, and I don't think anybody wants that. So, alright, the second technique is fine pinching, and you'll notice this is done typically with just one hand, and it's usually one or two little pieces of foliage, and you're really not taking off more than maybe an eighth or 1/16 of an inch. And the twisting motion is essential. That ends up breaking the foliage or pulling foliage apart where it connects, and it won't leave a brown tip uh, like rougher pinching or shearing will. So this is something that's done to fine-tune the shape of the foliage pad, and can take a lot of time to really get them pinched right. Alright, the third technique is rough pinching, and you'll notice here that I'm using two fingers to hold the foliage. That's because I'm trying to get a bunch off at a time, not just a little tiny piece like I'm doing in fine pinching, but a lot more. So I'll support it with two fingers, and then I'll use the other two fingers to pinch it off. This is typically done more. I use this technique more on more juvenile foliage pads and rough shaping. Not so much on a fine tree, but this tree had really been allowed to grow a lot over the summer, and typically it wouldn't be in this kind of shape. But this technique, this rough pinching, will sometimes leave brown tips, so you need to be careful with it. It certainly wouldn't be something you'd want to do prior to a show or something like that. Finally got those pieces. Those pieces were bothering me. It's really interesting as you start looking at bonsai after you've worked on it. You see it in two dimensions. I see so many problems here. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. Shaped funny. There's actually two branches there. This one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. This one's still a little thick. I think the bottom could come off of that a little bit more. So even after you've worked on it, sometimes you're going to end up saying, this one needs wire. But I was actually taking wire off today, not putting it on. So this one needs to be wired flatter. This one could be wired flatter. There's still some more pinching that needs to be done. But in general, that's the idea, guys. I hope this was a helpful video for you. Have a great day.